natatandaan mo yung talinghaga na pinag-usapan natin ni na Enoch, yung inilagay sa bangko?
Ah, ah,
Kung meron bang bangko si Kristo, natatandaan mo yun?
mm,
Eh di nasa Lucas yun, di ba?
ah,
Ang nakalagay doon, yung alipin na yon, yung ipinagkatiwala sa kanya, teka, kung yun yun yung ipinagkatiwala sa kanya, nilagay niya sa panyo. Tama ba? Sa panyo nga ba nilagay?
oo.
Sa panyo ba nilagay, Tipet?
Ang sa ibang ano, binaon sa lupa eh.
Ayun na nga. Ang nakalagay doon sa 19:20, dumating ang isa, nagsasabi, Panginoon, narito ang iyong mina, aking itinago sa isang panyo. Ayun, Lucas 19:20. Tandaan mo tinago sa panyo. Ngayon, same scenario same scenario. Alam mo kung saan naman nilagay dun sa aklat naman ni Mateo?
Ano, saan?
Sa lupa.
Oo.
Kaya itong dalawang Mateo na to, itong Mateo at saka si Lucas na to, gusto ko pagkukumpara. Talaga nagsasabi na yung totoo. Si Lucas nilagay, tinago sa panyo. Ang laki naman ang diferensya nun. Kasi kung may error lang, minor, pwede sabihin mo, nilagay ah, sa
Kaya,
ano.
kaya nga ang ano evidence na hindi lahat ng bagay do sa talinghaga bibigyan mo ng kahulugan kasi nga kung lahat may kahulugan bakit ano katulad niya magkaiba bakit yung isa pa nyo yung isa ano
Nilagay
sa
sa lupa.
lupa. Oo, ang ibig lang sabihin nun, yung details hindi naman mahalaga na kasing halaga nung ano kabuuang essence nung talinghaga. Para
Mm.
bigyan mo lahat ng ano kaulugan ng panyo, bakit bigla-bigla lupa naman yung kabila,
Oo.
'di ba?
Oo. Buti sana tipets kung minor difference lang. Halimbawa, di sabi kay Lucas, nilagay sa panyo, ano? Halimbawa, minor difference lang na halimbawa, nilagay niya sa kanyang ah, balat. Yung ano, yung telang balat. Yung mga ganun. Di ba may
Ah,
nababasa ka namang ganun?
ah.
May
O kaya
mga
tinago sa
tela.
ilalim ng kama.
Pero layo Walang niya panyo at lupa. Ang laki ng diferensya nun eh. Ay, minsan pag nagbabasa ako ng Bible, lang hindi na ang nakikita ko yung mabuti. Nakikita ko yung maipupunto ko na eh. Tama ako ng tao, no? Parang may ginagawa nila satisfied.
Hindi. Ganito, ano, DK, ito, alam mo si Spetch to. Di ba sabi nga nung pinapanood natin si Spetch na pagka, bawa naging agnostic ka or atheist at binasa
Ah,
mo yung Biblia,
ah,
iba na yung dating sa'yo ng Bible. Hindi na
ah.
katulad dati na
Ang
pagpanatic
ang
ka.
ang dating na
Oo.
sa akin nung una, meron akong pagkainis na parang part nun yung parang naniwala ako sa yung pagkainis na directed para sa sarili ko na
Mm-mm.
parang yung naloko ako, nagpaloko ako ganon. Ano ba tong pinaniwalaan ko na to? Fairy tale na naman ng it sounds like ganon.
Mm-mm.
Pero nung nagbasa ako ng mga ibang books na sulat din lang naman ng mga tao, na unawaan ko na itong Biblia is just a literary work na hindi ko dapat panggalingan ng sama ng loob ko kasi this is just inaano ko siya ginugroup ko siya together with poetry, with songs, bedtime stories, yung ganon, na work of art. Let's just say it's a work of art, na literary work. Yun na lang ang tingin ko sa Bible, na hindi siya dapat seryosohin. Na gawin mong gawin mong rule book, hindi. Ang tingin ko na lang sa Bible ay isang philosophical book. It's a literary work, piece of art, ganon, ganon. Hindi not necessarily source of truth. Hindi. Ganon.
Mm.
Kaya nga yan,
Pagka
yung mga napag-iisip nyo unsatisfied. Ayan. Kasi pagka nilapatan mo ng critical thinking talaga yan, matututo ka talagang mag-question, magtanong eh. Kaya yung mga tinatanong mo, mga legit yun eh. Eh kung talagang ganun, eh bakit
Napapagalitan
naman,
na nga ako eh.
di ba? Di ba?
May isa ka pa eh, na ano, alam mo yung, di ba gumawa ka ng timeline kay Judas? Nakita mo,
Hmm.
may nakita ka dong mali eh. Naalala mo yun, yung sa pilak ba yun? Iba yung sinabi sa iba
yung
na binalik.
bumili ng lupa. Yung isa ay yung bumili siya ng lupa, doon siya nagpatihulog. Yun ba yun?
Hindi, hindi.
Or hindi.
Ano
Hindi,
siya?
bumili ng lupa, tapos nagbigti. Tapos yung isa, nagpatihulog. So ano ba talagang kinamatay niya?
Hindi
Nagpatihulog o
pa yan.
nagbigti?
Hindi pa yan, depends. Iba pang point.
Hindi. Di
Yung
ba?
sinasabi naman na satisfied, ibinalik yung piraso ng
Binalik.
pilak.
Yes,
Binalik, di ba?
binalik. Tapos yung isa,
Eh, yung
binili ng lupa.
ibinili ng lupa. So, paanong naibalik yung pinagbilan? Samantalang nakabili siya nung lupa galing dun sa pinagbilan. Paanong nangyari?
Oo.
So, yun.
Who's telling the truth? Who's telling the truth? Who
Pero ano
is
siya,
remembering the truth?
kung ang gagawin mo sa kanya, Tipet, pag-aaralan mo siya, pagtatagpuin mo yung dalawa para ma-reconcile mo siya,
Hmm. Oo.
bumili siya ng lupa, kumuha siya sa 30 piraso ng pilak, at yung excess, yun yung binalik para wala siyang contradiction. Kasi hindi naman nakalagay dun sa talata na nung ibinalik, buo eh. Ang nakalagay lang, ibinalik.
Gaano ba ang
Pero hindi
halaga?
sinabi, yun lang, ang susunod mong tanong dyan. Kung gaano
Gaano
kahalaga.
ba kahalaga ang isang pilak? Kung halimbawa, magbibili ka ng isang pilak, ilang denaryo kaya yon? Kasi ang sweldo sa isang araw, isang denaryo. So, ilang denaryo ang i-research nga natin yan mamaya, no? Ang isang denaryo, isa arawan na sweldo. Ilang denaryo ang ibabayad mo makabili ng isang pilak. Tapos times yon sa 30, yun ang halaga ng supposedly budget niya para bumili ng lupa. So posible na halaga rin ng makabili ng lupa yung 30, yung 30 pieces of silver. Kaya ayun, ina-analyze ko nga kung yung pagkabili ba ng lupa reasonable ba yun doon sa halagang tinanggap.
So dito natin makikita na these are oral story passed through many hands, fingerprints. It doesn't break the story, nandun pa rin yung story, kaya lang pag sinuri mo talaga may mga details na iba-iba. So I don't know kung matatawag mo pa ba yung kinasihan ng Diyos kasi hindi accurate. Pero it just reveals how different authors shaped the same teaching for slightly different moods and audiences kung sino kausap nila and yung mood nila, kung masaya ba sila, ano bang gusto nilang ipakita sa magbabasa no, parang director, no, parang mga filmmakers, no. So tignan natin to, sabi dun sa Luke 19:20, yung bad servant says he hid the mina in a handkerchief. Dun naman sa Matthew, bad servant din. So it's the same story, no? Pero ang sabi doon, he buried the talent in the ground. So same general parable structure, kaya lang two different props. Yung isa saklot sa handkerchief, yung isa sa butas, sa hukay. So a neat way to understand the contradiction is to think of it like two filmmakers, sabi ko nga, para tong mga director na nag-a-adapt sa isang folktale. O sabihin mo ng parable, no, from Jesus Christ, no, pero gusto ni Matthew, ang story niya is mas mabigat, more dramatic. Kasi pag binaon mo sa lupa, talagang ano siya, mas mabigat kaysa dun sa panyo, no? Pero ano kasi to ancient practice din to pagka yung mga lumang tao, so stories din, no, before them, no, na it feels heavier kung lalagay mo sa lalim ng lupa. Ini-store mo yung mga kayamanan mo. So, ang gusto niyang iparating, more serious to, more cautious, and parang mas takot yung paglalagay ng gamit o pera sa lupa, sa lalim ng lupa. Pero si Lucas naman, gusto niya yung pag-hide niya ng money dun sa piece of cloth, sa handkerchief. It makes it feel hindi takot, no? It makes it feel like sloppy or negligent, no? At parang nakakainis na na sloppy ka, no? So, si Matthew, fear. Si Lucas, parang tamad ka or even defiance dun sa utos, no? So, historically, yung mga scholars, ganito talaga mag-explain, no? So, laging may magkaibang versions at titignan natin kung ano pa yung mga contradictions. Napakarami, guys. Oo. So, sabi dito, they are two versions of the same teaching. Remember differently in two early Christian communities. Jesus taught using repeated storytelling. Teachers in that era didn't use notes. Hindi sila nagsusulat pambira. Kaya ang tagal sinulat nito So, magkakaiba-iba talaga. They reused and reshaped stories for different audiences. Matthew and Luke edited those traditions to emphasize their own themes. Kita nyo? Edited na talaga So, depende kung anong gusto nilang isulat dun. So, I don't know kung merong gustong may Espiritu Santo na gustong diktahan sila o talagang galing lang sa kanila, no? Matthew's Jesus focuses on fear leading to inaction. Yung Jesus naman ni Luke focuses on refusing responsibility and defying the master. But if you take it as literal history, you get a straightforward contradiction. Either the servant wrapped the money in cloth or he dug a hole. Pero hindi pwedeng pareho sila. Magkaiba nga contradiction niya, straightforward. What makes it fascinating is the thematic nuance. The props change but the punchline survive. Yung message nandun pa rin. The least responsibility we take with that, what we're given, the harsher the result. It's like the gospel writers are lifting the same diamond and letting different facets catch the light. There are plenty and they don't ruin the text. They make them more interesting. When four different communities preserve the same traditions, their seams show. The fun part is treating the Gospels like overlapping eyewitnesses sketches. The big picture aligns, but the details drift because human memory and community agendas shape them. See? So, di po accurate. So, human memory and community agendas shape them depende nga kung anong message na gustong iparating. Okay? Here are several clear practical examples you can see in the Bible. Ito, tingnan natin These aren't vague or forced. They're places where the wording simply diverges. Okay? The death of Judas. Two different endings. Matthew says Judas hung himself sa Matthew 27:5, pero sa Acts, sabi naman doon si Judas falls headfirst, bursts open, and his intestines spill out. Nakasulat yan sa Acts 1:18. Very different scene, but the same character. This one reveals how early Christian storytellers handled uncomfortable topics. One kept it simple, the other gave a dramatic, cursed death narrative, pero hindi siya accurate. Kaya yan nga yung tanong ko kay Dinab, Danny Navales, at hindi niya ako nasagot ng diretsa. So, kasi mahirap aminin na may contradiction sa details. So, nag-mental gymnastics sa akin si Brad Danny. Number 2, the centurion servant who actually talks to Jesus. Matthew 8:5-13 says, the centurion comes personally to Jesus. Sa Luke naman 7:1-10, the centurion never meets Jesus. Instead, he sends elders and then friends. So same miracle, no, but two social dynamics. This shows the author shaping the story. Matthew loves Jesus dealing directly with outsiders, while Luke highlights intermediaries and communal relationships. Ito pa, genealogy of Jesus, two different family trees. Sa Matthew 1, it traces na Joseph's line through Solomon. Pero sa Luke 3, it traces na Joseph's line through Nathan naman. Different brothers of David, different lists, different ancestors lalabas. Some harmonizers twist themselves into knots, but as written, the genealogies don't match. Kung technical mo po, hindi talaga match. Matthew writes a royal symbolic lineage, while Luke writes a priestly spiritual one. Number 4, the number of women at the empty tomb. Sabi sa Mark, si Magdalene, Mary and mother of James, and Salome. And sa Matthew naman, Magdalene lang at the other Mary. Wala si Salome. Sa Luke naman, a large group of women naman, plus si Joanna. Mas marami. Sa John naman, only Mary Magdalene is mentioned. Iba-iba ang number of women at mga tao sa empty tomb. So, multiple witnesses, multiple head counts, a very human phenomenon. Tao lang, guys. Okay, number 5. What were Jesus' last words? Sa Mark and Matthew, my God, Diyos ko, ba't mo ko pinabayaan? Why have you forsaken me? Sa Luke naman, ang last words ay, Father, into your hands I commit my spirit. Sa John naman, ang last words ay, it is finished. Pambira. Same scenario, crucifixion, but different final lines. Each writer highlights a theological tone, which is anguish, trust, or triumph. Depende sa nagsusulat. Number 6, did the disciples receive the Holy Spirit before Pentecost? Sa Acts, sabi doon, it happens at Pentecost mismo, sa Acts number 2, chapter 2. Sa John naman, Jesus breathes on them and gives the Spirit before Pentecost. So ano ba? As it happens ba? Or before Pentecost? Nakasulat sa John 20:22. Two timelines, two theological messages. Ito pa, dun sa fig tree. Ayan, when did the fig tree wither? Matthew says the fig tree withered immediately after Jesus cursed it. Pero sa Mark naman, nakasulat, it withered the next day. Ano ba? Immediately or the next day? So, tiny detail but a clean mismatch talaga. Number 8, what did the sign above Jesus's head actually say? Yun nakasulat dun sa cross. Each gospel records a slightly different inscription. Sa Matthew, sabi, this is Jesus, the King of the Jews. Sa Mark naman, walang this is Jesus. Nakasulat lang, the King of the Jews. Sa Luke naman, nakasulat, this is the King of the Jews. Sa John, sabi, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. So, iba-iba ang nakasulat sa pagkakatanda ng mga nagsulat ng 4 na Gospels na to. Either the sign had 4 different versions or each writer paraphrased. Baka kung ano lang yung naalala nila. None of these destroy the core narrative. What they do is reveal the Gospels as ancient theological biographies, texts written with purpose, perspective, and memory, not stenographic recordings. The real treasure is that these contradictions let you talk about how communities remember, how storytellers reshape events, and how meaning survives even when details diverge. It's a scientific and psychological lens that pairs beautifully with wait lang. Especially when you're when you explore how belief, identity, and narrative intertwine. There are more actually. They get even more interesting once you stop trying to force them to match and simply watch each how gospel writer bends the light of the same traditions in their own direction. Treat it like four storytellers around a campfire remember the same set of events. Nobody is lying, but nobody is working from a tape recorder either. Okay? Meron pa. Here are additional places where the seams show the calling of the first disciples. Mark and Matthew picture Jesus walking by the Sea of Galilee, calling fishermen who drop everything instantly. But dun sa sulat ni Luke, remembers the same moment happening after a miracle catch with crowds already following Jesus. Sa John naman, none of this happens. Disciples first meet Jesus because of John the Baptist's testimony. Pambira, ang layo ng story na yun. It's the same cast, but the origin story shifts depending on theological emphasis. Okay, the timing of the cleansing of the temple. Ang dami nito. Matthew, Mark, and Luke place it near the end of Jesus' ministry, almost like the act that seals his fate. Pero sa John places it at the very beginning, shaping Jesus as a disruptor from the start. Ayon. Magkaiba nga. That relocation tells you John isn't writing a diary. He's writing meaning into a timeline. Late na po kasi nagsulat yung John. Okay. Yung sa sermon naman, ang setting ay sa mountain ba o sa plain? Matthew has Jesus teaching the famous sermon on a mountain, symbolic of a new Moses handing down a new law. Pero kay Luke, Jesus teaching a very familiar set of teachings on a flat plain, hindi sa bundok. Consistent naman to sa Luke's theme of Jesus coming down to the people. Two different landscapes, same teachings. What happens to the demons in the Gerasene or Gadarene story? Matthew remembers 2 possessed men. Sa Mark and Luke naman, they remember 1. Human memory loves focusing on the loudest character. Communities retelling the story probably did the same. Where did Jesus meet the disciples after the resurrection? Sabi ni Matthew, sa Galilee. Sabi naman ni Luke, sa Jerusalem. Sabi naman ni John, both daw. Both places, but ordered differently. Ayan, these locations aren't trivial. They reflect 2 different missionary traditions, one based in Galilee and the other in Jerusalem. Did Jesus allow carrying a staff on the missionary journey? Mark says Jesus told the disciples to take a staff. Matthew and Luke naman say he told them not to take one. Ano ba? Nag-take ba ng staff? O wag lang mag-take. Yan. A tiny detail, but it shows the early Christian storytellers adjusting the mission rules to match the ethos of their community. Okay. Ito pa. Who carried the cross? John says Jesus carried it completely. Pero dun sa iba naman, the synoptics say Simon of Cyrene carried it naman. That contradiction becomes easier to understand once we realize ancient biography didn't feel obligated to resolve small inconsistencies. They prioritized the drama and the message. Okay, what did the women do after seeing the tomb? Sa Mark, pinaka naunang manuscript, no, yung Mark, says they said nothing to anyone because they were afraid. Sa Matthew naman, they ran to tell the disciples. Sa Luke naman, says they told the disciples but were not believed. Sa John naman, focuses on one woman, si Mary, and builds a private scene with Jesus. Bira, iba-iba. So, fear, mission, doubt, intimacy, Each author chooses a different emotional color. You can keep going, no? There are dozens, if not hundreds, no? Dozens lang nakalagay dito. But they don't have to be treated as errors. They can be read as evidence on how living traditions behave. It only shows that stories evolve, details drift, but themes endure. Memory is woven, not carbon copied. When you read the Gospels with that awareness, they become even richer as historical and psychological documents. Yun po ang mga ilan-ilan, pero meron pa po, no? Hindi ko lang babasahin, pero makikita natin na oral traditions or stories pass through many hands' fingerprints. Yun po. Yun lang po. Thank you po.